What's your parents then you had around actually it's so production. This year, it's shop service. Friday the Wednesdays when we do it like every year. Yeah. Like every year, and the lot of comments afterwards. Before. So it's just like long grand will be like Sunday morning. Oh yeah, exactly. And the other day I'm but I figured white day today, next week. Yeah, to be fresh. Yeah. There's so many things though. So many. Okay. Okay. Fine. Is there going to be cheering? Yes. Yeah, yeah. I spoke to him on the phone. I'm going to announce it now if someone wants to go. I mean, I can take maybe one because I'm taking credits. You're taking credits? Okay. Probably exactly direct. Exactly direct. Direct? You're going shopping first. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the wire, and yeah, right. So شنو صار بقرب على شنو يعني Challah خليك تتكلم شوي ما يبعد ما شو بقول كأخ ميتام لونيو لابد نسأل بيد نسأل على إيش كذي بتزبي كلام مش بس بتجي على سام لا إيش تبي عقد بالفريس عباس من سام ولا قرشين كيف يبغى ينسى إيش عقد بس إيش وين أسبق كيف بتسوي هذا اسمه بنعرف يعني like a host one is like oh this is going to show them back so like it's a face you describe them as some by yeah but you're the all they call done it's about get some chicken check yeah sorry I think it's oh yeah there's a so we should have a channel and say I get well I mean then you mean I know that respect on the line as I can do it something basic time I should give this you don't know like that's six additional lives if you should share a point to score it what if you're gonna come back it's I mean sure it's a quick question the Babishers don't usually eat processed food during Pesach. That means, like, for example, you can't buy packaged cheese. That's processed, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they don't have any unprocessed cheese. Mm-hmm. The cheese itself is processed. You can't get cheese that's not processed. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, what about milk? Is milk okay, or is that a problem? Most of them don't eat milk. Some do. I mean, don't drink milk. No. Okay. A good Chodesh, the Moedige Day is a day of Esra Torres. Today is a day of Nissan. Nissan is two noons. Is Nissan Nasa Loi, the shall help to us, but the Reich of Klal Yisrael that there should be Nissan. Befrat when it comes to building a Mikdash Miyat, which has a shaykhus to the Mishkan, which is connected through the Chodesh. That in the building the Mishkan and the Mikdash Ma'at, we should have Nisan. So before Pesach, some people have some women have the Shaila what to do with the Challah. Today, or lately, by Neshev Nois Yisrael, it became a very big thing to make Challah bakes. Because it's brought in Poiskim, Shas Yid as a mitzvah, special mitzvah that's mutal on that Yid. It's a special Eitzrotzi. Many women are making challah bakes, and it's been proven. It's been proven to be part of Yeshua's. So the mitzvah of challah is really midiraisa only in Eretz Yisrael, and when all the Yidden are there in Eretz Yisrael. So challah chutzlor it says derabanan, and we'll talk about it soon, the details of it. Bottom line is, how do you dispose of it? How do you dispose of this piece of challah?
Nothing to do with Pesach.
Nothing to do with Pesach. Some people have a freezer full by Pesach. And Shaila is how to take care of it. Happened to be by Shgocha Protis that Friday,
someone called me from a school, and she said that they make Friday challah, and they give to the kids, and the kids like braid the challahs, and they take it home. Some of the kids bake it in school. And they realized that they made the dough, and they didn't take challah. And the kids are already leaving school. What should they do? So the din is that challah's chutzlot, it doesn't have to be min hamukiv. You're allowed to eat it and then take at the end, but it has to be me'isa achas. That originally it was one dough, and the answer was that they made one big dough, and then they cut it up and they gave it to the different classes. So this is no problem. So the one that called from the office, she had one challah in her hand, and I told her to take the challah from what she has in her hand. Okay. So what are you supposed to do with the challah? I'll tell you what not to do. I used to have my wife in challah every week. Put it aside, wrap it up, and put it in the freezer. And my neighbor used to make a big fire. Now I make my own fire, and I used to bring it. Until he said, "Please do me a favor. If you're going to come and come to put your chometz in my fire, just please keep the challah for yourself, because it's not burning. It's not burning. He once said, you put more fire in this with a stick and trying to hit it. It doesn't burn." So I realized that he's right. It's not the eitzah. So before Pesach, it's a good idea those that have challah to get rid of it. Now there's some achronim that say that when the Shulchan Aruch says sereifa, it doesn't have to be sereifa. That the sereifa could mean that just you have to be mavarit min ha'olam, you have to get rid of it. The Shulchan Aruch says that the minig is to do sereifa. Okay, I'm saying a lot of the booklets, the challah booklets and the recipe booklets, they bring maybe the Chaznish. It's not so clear in the Chaznish even that he said so. That it's not the emissaries. I would say it comes down to machlokes Rashi and Tosfos.
What if we call it Pesach?
No, you don't have to wait at Pesach. So some people do it on the stove. Put it on the stove, you burn it. That's very good. That's very good. That's very good. But it's a little messy. It's a little messy. So you have to burn it until it's like, mamish burnt, like a gechelis. Emissaries, I don't think you mamish have to have. If you at least mahanale mia, that there's those that say it can be mavarid, that you burn it a little bit and then you wrap it up and throw it out. But then there's a machlobit zasugya that we learned. The Mishnah says that you have to burn truma, and Rashi says why? In order for it not to be a takola. Tosfos argues with Rashi. Tosfos says it's a mitzvah deiraisa and perhaps a mitzvah derabonon. It's a mitzvah. So what's the difference between Rashi and Tosfos? I would say it's a very simple, two differences, two nafkaminas. It shouldn't be a takola. It shouldn't be a stumbling block. A stumbling block that someone's might come to use it, right? So if you say like a Rashi,
Go out to the garden.
so very good. You already stole my first nafkamina. If you say like a Rashi that the pulling is it shouldn't be a stumbling block. If you throw it in the garbage, it's good enough. There's perhaps it shouldn't be a minig design anyway. With bread or dough, you shouldn't be. Let's just wrap it up in a paper or a silver foil and throw it out. But if you say like Tosfos that there's a mitzvah, and we'll learn in a second. We'll read it inside that maybe chutzlot it's a minig. It's not, but the minig is based on the mitzvah in Eretz Yisrael. So according to the Tosfos, you really have to burn it. Another nafkamina is, do you mamish have to burn it? So that's the main nafkamina. The main nafkamina is do you need to dafka burn it? Which it seems from Tosfos that you need to dafka burn it. And from Rashi, it seems that you don't have to dafka burn it. The main thing is that it shouldn't be a stumbling block. It shouldn't be around. So as long as you throw it out, it's good enough.
I remember.
Other nafkamina would be a bracha. Could you make a bracha? There's a long shiva in a Moshe, the big people. Why do we don't find there should be a thing of making a bracha? But I would say, without the pilpul poshet, I would say that this is totally in machlokes of Rashi and Tosfos. If you say it shouldn't be a takola, it shouldn't be a stumbling block. So, if you're saying that, there's going to be a sugya bli neder this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, We're going to learn about the two reasons of B'dikas Chometz and the Geder. We'll learn a little bit Lomdus. We'll get into this week. Blinedetz and Yonah D'Yoyma. We'll do a little bit the Gemara, a little bit Shuvas, and it touches a lot of different things, like a Shmaka Sugya. So Blinedetz will do it Tuesday, Wednesday. But one of the things that come up is in Yonah Day is brought that a person that sees that the example I gave the other day. A wolf comes into a chicken coop and he sees that he was doidus one chicken. He was doidus a chicken. The chicken is still alive, but he got his claws into that chicken. Now, Pidin, that chicken is treif. There's the details, whatever. The guy knows. Whatever it is, whatever details in order to make it a treifa, it's a treifa. He saw with his eyes, it's a treifa. The chicken is still alive. But Al-Pidin, it's a treifa. Now, what's going to happen? The chicken is going to walk around. It's going to get mixed up with other chickens. It's going to be shechted. We don't check every b'dikas pnim. We don't check where it's a chazaka that they're all good. And the person might not realize that it's a treif and they'll eat it. So you're mechuyev to kill it right away. You're mechuyev to kill it. Because it's a treifa. And if you're not going to dispose of this chicken, all the person can say you don't make a bracha. Because even though it's a mitzvah, that to take away a stumbling block from another Jew, that a Jew shouldn't stumble over it, but there's no bracha on it. And we'll talk about it Blineda this week. So I'm just referencing now to that. It's the same thing here. If you say, according to Rashi, that the reason that we dispose of the Challah is because we shouldn't have a stumbling block accidentally, you'll eat it. It's like Oifes and Edrosim, there's no bracha. But if you say, like Toisves, that it's a mitzvah, that maybe they're Raisa, maybe they're Rabbonon. It's similar to Noiser and Hektish.
Be stumbling on it, so it's always something.
No, if you hold like Rashi, it's even if you, we'll learn the lumps over, but we say, Oifes and Edrosim, because it's just to take away a stumbling block, there's no brach on it.
It's a suffix, it's a trade or not trade.
No, even if it's Vadei Treifel, even if it's Vadei Treifel, all the poskim say that you have to kill it, but you don't make a bracha because of taking away. There's no specific mitzvah of Chazal. Like there's a general thing to take away takola, but there's no specific mitzvah for what you just did right now. You did a general thing of taking away takola. So I think the same thing would apply to this thing. If you hold like Rashi, that the mitzvah of Sreifas Truma, and by extension Challah, is in order not to have a stumbling block, so there's no bracha. According to Tosfos, he holds it's a mitzvah. There is a bracha. Maybe not chutzlor, it's because, but maybe at least in Eretz Yisrael. But anyway, so that's a little bit of the lomdus. Bottom line is, Shulchan Aruch does say you should burn it. I have an eitzah, a simple eitzah. One eitzah, you could right when your wife takes it, you could put it. You turn on the fire, you put it right there, you let it burn. And if it didn't burn as so like till it became like charcoal, huh?
Smoke alarm just off.
Yoitza. The smoke alarm tells you when you're yoitza. If you have a suffix in that, you wrap it up in a silver foil and put it in the garbage. The other eitzah is that you could let your wife fill up the freezer with pieces. The thing is, the Gros says that you should put it between moles in order not to be nitshul accidentally to eat it. But I don't know if it's so. We take a kazais that's rolled round and it's wrapped in a paper or in a plastic on a silver foil. It's very nikir. No one's I don't think it's such a big chash. So you could fill up your freezer and Mizman Lazman, you could take the pieces and put it in, you could take it 13 by 11 pan. You could cover it, put it in your oven on 500 for 5 hours. You can go to sleep. And next morning, it's charcoal. So then, it's still closed. The pan is closed. You can put it in the garbage, and then you're good. But for someone that all this is too hard for them, they should just wrap it up and put it in the garbage. At least it shouldn't be a takola. I'll just read it quickly inside.
All right, you mean something about only making 5 pounds, or that be wrong?
Yeah, the question is how much you have to make.
But as far as burning, or as far as making
in order to make a bracha, taking the challah. Let's just read quickly in your day. So Mishnah Chav Gimel Tzefei Challah Chutz Al Artav Kli Shetumei Hol V'Ika Chiyuv Medevrei Men Asor B'Achila El Al Kohen Shetuma Yoytzel Al Megufei. When you take Challah Chutz Al Artav, the whole idea is really only Midirabonon. So they only said if that's a coin that Tuma Yoytzel Al Megufei, then he's not allowed to eat it. Those that have to basically go to the mikveh. Aval shor tmeim v'maga tumas. Afila tmeim. Even if he's really tummy, he's a tummy mace, like all of us that are by now tummy mace. Doesn't matter. Torah malachila. Fikir ben besuri ben bechutz laaretz b'roitz lafish chala achas lafish echel mimem ches. He could take one challah, one of 48, a piece that's that big. V'nachelas lakotin shadayin loiro keni oy lektana shadayin loiro sanida. You can give it to a kohen, a girl or a boy that's young, that never had a tumah go out of their body. Vein tzarich lahafish shniya. V'cheni moishom kohen godel. If there was a kohen who was an adult, shetovel mishich vazari, they went to the mikveh and he toveled and he's clean from the shich vazari. Meziva afa b'shaloy erev shimshav yeshem. Zerach erev shimshav. There's a mutar lechel challah rishona vein tzarich lahafish shniya b'chutz loretz. If you're going to give it to a kohen to eat, if you're going to give it to a kohen to eat, and the kohen is pure, then you only take one challah. But if the kohen did not go to the mikveh, then mechutz la'aretz you're supposed to take two challahs, one to give to the kohen and one to burn. Because the zman hazeh, even in Eretz Yisrael, the kohenim are not eating it. Therefore, even though in the Gemara it says that you should take two challahs, one that you can give to a kohen that toma yotzal gufa and one to burn, no, we take one challah and we burn it.
They don't eat it because they're in a state of tumah?
Yes. לכן המנהג פשוט, בכל מדינס אלו שמפרישים רק חלה אחת, בלי שיעור, בסופו נעשה כמו שהעסק שמפריש שתי חלה, שחלה סוער לא יהיה לשיר, בכל מקום נוהגים little kazayas. The meaning is to take a kazayas. You see, the problem is when you take a kazayas, so that, there's a tzad to say that this is like, you really have to burn it. V'eichel chala, אפילו בחוץ לארץ מברך תחילה למין שלא יצא לאכול ואחת מברך שכשנה בקדושת השלען and it's one left room. Anyway, no one's doing it today. יש היום כשטייף מאכל אויצל להסק בפני עצמה. The Yisrael also learns from it. You're not allowed to be nana from it. ונוהגים להשליך לתנה קודם שאויפן הפס. Why? The poskim say because we're scared that you're going to end up using this dough. So if you always know that you throw it in the oven in between the coals and it gets burnt before you bake the bread, so that's it. That's simple. Okay. So, as I said, the bottom line is a lot of the booklets say that you don't have to, but I said that the poshet, the din is it's a serefa. So the best thing is to do serefa, to do the serefa the way it's in David shall help them that all the challah bakes, that all the skabot slois and the vus and the chol beis Yisrael. Yeah.
Well, I thought the normal thing was always to put the fowl in the oven and let it sit in the bottom of the oven till it burns.
That's the best thing. That's the best thing. That's what
I mean,
and you know what? I'll tell you what. But there used to be all the average ovens in the bottom used to have that shelf and used to have that that grill or fire, whatever it is, that thing. They had fire in the bottom, and it's gas fire and it's a starke fire. You throw it there. Not first of all. Today a lot of ovens are electric.
Yeah.
So you're already starting with a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Even the gas ovens. I have now one oven that's a gas oven that doesn't have it in the bottom. It doesn't have that. It has a shelf you could put over there. It makes up pans, but it doesn't have that shelf that used to have with it had a fire in the bottom. It used to be a machaya.
There's a shelf.
A thing in the bottom that they have.
Right.
They used to have gas.
A fire right over it.
I have an oven that doesn't have. You can't. There's fire underneath, and then there's a tas shel matechas on top of it. But you can't. It's screwed in. You can't. There used to be the ovens that you could. It was open, and you could throw a piece of challah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's very easy.
The interesting with challah itself, when you're making a big batter, like for cupcakes. If you're making a very, very big thing, you might want to take challah. Oh, you know it's loose.
Right.
You know it's loose.
If you have a soft, you can take without a bracha.
So what I did, VMO 15 years ago, 10 years ago, I was working in the store. They did this. What they said was they make it better. They'd have to take challah. They according to the hashkafa, they said take one cupcake out. After it's baked, you put it cover it with a bag, a big bag, the whole rack. And take one without bracha. You take one.
That's fine. It's fine. That's fine.
Throw it out.
That's fine. That's fine because it's one dose, so you could take a shloim and amukaf. That's good. That's good. Very good. Very good. I saw a tshuva. So we're already talking about this. So talk about silver foil. Minig Yisrael Torah to turn the kitchen into a spaceship for the COVID Pesach. So I saw someone living in Yerushalayim in a sefer asking about is silver foil really like a keli? Mashal. If I don't have if you have pans, you can get in New York cheap, not only 9 by 13, also the big one, cookie sheet pans. Especially Pesach, you get them on sale, a case of them for 100, and it's $20, $22, $25. And then you use it for Chasal the Pesach. But I mean, for many years, many kitchens ran on cookie sheets that were not disposable cookie sheets, real cookie sheets. So real cookie sheets, and the shaila is, say you have a cup of milchik, a cup of fleishik, and now you need more for the milchik side or more for the fleishik side. Could you use? You have cookie sheets that are milchik. Now you want, or faket, you have fleishik cookie sheets. You roast chicken on it, and now your wife wants to make something milchik. Could she cover it with silver foil? Could she cover it with silver foil and use it? So I saw this guy discuss about the MS is, he says, like, how could you say? He says that silver foil is so thin and doesn't have the din of a keli. The MS is, there's many daggers in silver foil. There is that.
The times that you go lay through the silver foil, is it?
Yeah, we go through the silver foil. And the truth is, there is silver foil. Yesh silver foil, yesh silver foil. You can buy today in New York the Heimish silver foil. That if you don't put on gloves, you'll get cut by handling it. And then you can have the Israeli silver foil. If you sneeze, you make a hole in it.
Mm-hmm.
But, yesh v'yesh. But anyway, I just want to read what this guy has to say. Aluminium. It was a question like Chalas. I'm working off the other thing. Good morning, good morning. So in Eretz Yisrael, it's more serious, the challah. So he asked if a person could put the challah on a silver foil, on a pan, on a cookie sheet pan, and put it in. His wife has a freezer with 10 pieces of challah. He's going to put it out on a silver foil on a cookie sheet and burn it. Yafadanta sheshmokum lodem laheter. Apim divrei Ramo Yeridei Simen Tzadik Basic Ches. Shtei kedei shenoigen zubazu. The ein oisim zu azubenegia. That if a milk kapat, a flesh kapat are touching each other, or a kosher, a treifa pat are touching each other, that we say that the isa doesn't go into the heter just because the two pots touch each other. Lavkan nechshav anar aluminium lekli echod v'tamachala or kli acher. V'tamachala lo yaver letavnis. Ama ein lisnach l'chatchila l'hokla b'zeh. Yesh kama timim lakach. Number one, that's a teresi kusil. Vuvet vore bedaki tshuva. Simen Tzadik Beis is the hiksha maish nam plitas akli la maichel. The oy mekli li the kliven damrin and the mekli kli the mekli ochlot is gambalorot of him came out down melo yivla akli shebetzida. I'm not so sure I understand the question of teresi kusil. Arvach boy. Even if you say that there's a chumrah that if you put a challah on a that if you put a cheese Danish on a fleischik whatever fleischik dish and there's no roitiv, but still that the time could go out, even if that's true. Arvach boy, but still from a keli to a keli is harsh. Anyway, the Torah Sikhasil says that the roitz lahachmar latzma the beis gdeiris neged zebezuah zeh b'shulach. But still, the Besefer Yad Shol Kosov Shein Arayis Muchroches Lahachmer Rak B'Shorisona. Not so much to be Machmer Gavabasa B'Cholov. They have to create a new issue. So if the woman is short in a pan and she'll use a fleishka pan in order to make milk in it, and she'll cover it with a silver foil, obviously you have to cover it the way that there's not going to be holes and it's not going to leak. I mean, as soon as there's a tiny leak, it's nothing to talk about. But if it's shayach to take a heavy silver foil and put it, and it's not going to be a leak. So, by Basa B'Cholov, less dim less dying that you're allowed to do it. Obviously, you have to be very careful because you don't want things to start getting mixed up in your kitchen. You don't want milchik to become treifik, and you don't want fleishik to become milchik. But theoretically, if you have a strong enough silver foil, like a Basa B'Cholov, for sure you're allowed to do it. But treif and kosher, you should be machmir because Taka, there's poskim that hold, and even the Ramoy could say it's only the Evan, not the Chatchila. Okay. Anyway, Bezman, good luck in making your. The truth is, like I said, that today the aluminium foil and some that we buy here are so strong that I think this guy says, oh, he says he also said befrat men in the dan near aluminium shesh lodem im kli hu loy shehu dak meyoy ein dem klal elo klipa be alma venain love shadova dak ze nemer aloch beis kededis. Who tells you that this is considered base kededis? If you have a really heavy aluminium foil, I think it's base kededis. It will work at least for basa b'chalav.
Does it make sense to cover a breastplate?
If it makes sense. No, usually the food doesn't touch, but your food, but if there is in the back of or next to where the oven is, where the steam, yeah, it does make sense. Wherever the steam, like in the backsplash behind the oven, the stovetop, there it does make sense. But Pesach take a kitchen home, but Pesach if you don't make it look like a spaceship. Amen. Okay. One more question. This is a funny question. Just because the name of the sheet is contemporary Shilas and Halacha. Shahakol Mia B'Dvoreh. Amen. So, since we call it contemporary Shilas, so I figured I'll ask something that wasn't something asked. It was just like a funny thing because my children were discussing last night. We were in Eretz Yisrael many years ago. And we stayed. I had a sister that lived in Yehuda, and there was and we went to a little town, a Jewish mamash, a hamlet or nothing, and the people there, they like to live off the grid.
Having bagels on Passover.
No bagels on Passover. No.
What?
Yes. Yeah. And I don't know. Remember place? It was a place that people live off the grid. Kipshute. Off the grid. There's the bathrooms, because they're shita also. The bathroom is as everything compost, and also the leftover of their food and whatever chulu they compost it, and then they use it in order to fertilize the garden. And they had a horse, and they had a couple of goats, and they had some chickens, and v'chulu, mamish off the grid. So last night the kids were discussing it by Mlava Malka, and they were asking that mamish b'chumra gedola. The most of the food they produce, and they don't use any paper goods. The bal yeroa, bal yemotza paper goods, and they compost everything. The leftover of their foods, they compost it every 3-4 weeks.
I put up 6 garbages twice a week.
Right. Yeah, nothing. Every drop goes in, and then they use it as zevel. They use it as fertilizer. And
there's 495 that could Smith out.
So
So
we want to know if the compost Chometz is composted, if it's good. So the question is, a guy who throws the bread there, Lamazog, it's 2 weeks before Pesach. And he throws. It takes time for it to decompose. It takes time for this thing to decompose.
It's not edible anymore.
Huh?
It's not edible anymore.
Oh, so that's what I found. So the kid asked me the shayla. I found the tshuva. The guy says that the last time you can compost the bread is 2 weeks before Pesach. He checked that it takes 2 weeks for it to become ein roi lachilas kelim.
Only 2 weeks.
2 weeks. This truth is a lot of times people say, yeah, it's fine. It's ein roi lachilas kelim. I had a good friend many years ago that said, do you have a kelev that you know what's roy, what's not roy, like this kelev? If you have a kelev, then you can judge what's roy, what's not
It
roy.
also depends how often you feed it to it.
So the truth is like this. I disagree with this guy. I disagree with him. I think it depends. The truth is depends. This guy says 2 weeks. It says, he has a whole issue. If you're throwing out bread, it's not covered for the bread, less than a kazais, more than a kazais. We don't want a gemara, a chulin that this guy, when he finished eating, he swept up and he put the leftovers from the crumbs into the river, and he heard the angel that makes people poor cry and say, "Wow, this guy, knocked me out of my place." Because it's the angel that tries to make people poor. It looks that a person should be mevaza pirurim, and some Rishonim say even pirurim less than a kazayis, even though it's mutal abed. But if a person is disrespectful to the Torah shishpil on Hakadosh Baruch Hu, so therefore he shouldn't step on it, and therefore he shouldn't just throw it b'derech b'zoyin.
The river is there covered?
Huh?
The river is there covered?
So yeah, it was considered berakov itself. To Lepoyo, what the Ben Ish Chai brings, others bring, that you should roll it up in a plastic and a napkin. You shouldn't throw it down in the garbage. Roll up the piruri lechem into something.
Tablecloths.
Tablecloth, yeah, why not? Tablecloth is great. So if you're going to wrap it up in a paper, maybe he's right a little bit, but I'll tell you what. Read the Alter Rebbe. Let's read it very quickly. The last two pieces. The Alter Rebbe says, "Ein nikra chometz noik she'elim kem shorashosh and chametz lo yoroi la'achila ma'olam kimal yidei tchak. Limo yoroi la'achila to begin with. Mission is chametz va'achach nifsal ma'achilas odem kegoyen a pashal chometz asho sel tzoish ipsho malugma skip the bracket shenisrechu v'neskalkula ma'achilas odem chayv levarim in ha-Torah. Elim kem nifsalu ma'achilas kelem koydem shasabir. Daina koydem shashisus. Shigir man abir ein alem teres eichel sheskayv levarim arim kofel baalmal in nifslam achilas kelem acher shas abir ben shnes chametz acher shas abir ben mikoydem chayv levarim in ha-Torah legamre in ha-Torah min oilem legamre in ha-Torah the kimin shalem shas acher acher man isude ein nifkelem loilem at shemeasa lohem keteres chametz. Alter Rebbe says calls it bechamet shemet be'einish ein more v'davar acher bechametz gomur shehoy roi lachilus she'id v'oise b'davar she'ein meichel odem klal. She'ein meichel kol odem kigoyin hatrika she'ein meichel al choilem mutal kaim be Pesach. You're not allowed to eat it. Afila yesh but Torah zachametz harbe yosem kazayz b'chnei chilas parad b'chomag givish she'ein roi lachila had a nissa the Torah ha'pasha b'toich v'ein alav Torah chametz klal aval osa lechel mizah Torah v'zu Pesach he'lein b'lacha from its culture in derech hasiyosu hu al yedei Torah v'chametz k'yon hatrika k'yoytz v'zayin bottle b'toich k'meshin is bar l'mayim. So I would say it's not mamish true because at the compost, the pit where it is, maybe it's not nifsal achilas kerlev right away.
Bacteria eats it quickly.
Huh?
Bacteria gets it quickly because it's very...
Right. Bacteria gets it pretty quickly. So if you're going to say, I'm not sure it's achilas kerlev, well, what's the difference? The shaylas really are garbages. They're wrapped up well in plastic, and you can have good oichel. So the truth is, our garbages, the only eight is to put it out into the shusarabim. Once it's shusarabim, it's fine. Anyway, as long as you put it at shusarabim and then you mavatal it, so then you're good. But I think it's not a problem, the compost. By Mezokshan having them, I have to tell you a story. So my Zayda told us when he was teaching us Tanya as a kid, but I remember he had a lesson, a very important lesson of Avodas Hashem. It was just a funny story. So there was a poet that was always sick, and he had a servant that was he was strong. He was a gibur. So he asked the servant, "Why is it that the servant is so strong, and he, the poet, is always sick? He has the best doctors, the best medicine, is always sick." So the servant said, "You know what? Let's do something like this. Let's take 2 barrels. After every meal, I'll take the leftover of my food and put it in the barrel. You take the leftover of your food, put in your barrel. Let's check the barrels in a month, and then we'll try to figure it out from there." The poet says eating sausages and eggs for breakfast, and sausages and eggs for lunch, and the same thing for supper. The servant can't afford anything besides bread and water. So you can imagine after a month what was the inside of the barrel from the potters, what it looked like, what the inside, and what happened was the servant says bread and water, so it fermented. And in Russia they had such a beer called kvass. I don't know, you ever drank kvass?
Oh, it's good stuff.
Good stuff, right?
Not is really stuff.
Huh?
Nothing really not so good.
No, the real kvass.
Yeah.
So the barrel, they opened the barrel, it was real good kvass. And the inside of the barrel from the potters, there was, you can imagine what it was. Yeah. So he said, this is the inside of my stomach, this is the inside of your stomach. So you can imagine, the answer. Anyway, so definitely, I would say that when you throw it into compost, the people have a compost, it takes very quickly. To become it would take maybe longer, but to say that it's mu'udah b'davar acher, it's already mu'udah b'davar acher. Anyway, but for our own houses, so you have to put out the compost of Rishus Harabim. So then, even though it's an oil achila, but as long as you put it out Rishus Harabim, then you make the bittul, then it works. Okay, Blina, the next week we're gonna have Pearl Yom Rishon K'muv Megam Poshet, and a lot of people ask me shilas about this year, the Kviyas, which is a little special, a little different. So Blina, you can ask me any shilas you like, but Blina, I'll try to focus next week on the specialty of this Kviyas. Okay, the Chaim L'Chaim, we should have a mitzvah Shem, a Kodesh, a Geula, a Gula Shleima, Bevias Mashiach Tzidkeinu. Yeah, it's just that Pesach Chometz. Is it Shabbos? Yeah.
Oh, so the question about milk and dairy, is it because it's processed, or is it even if, like if you went to a farm, you put in a jug and
No.
you drink it?
Oh, it's good.
Okay, so it's just a process. That's
Yeah.
okay. Just
I'll wait from next week. I forgot to bring the stories from you. Time. Do you want it to sell now? Oh, give me 2 minutes. I'm coming back. No, but we have to. Give me a minute. I'll be back.
No, thank you, Rosh. No. I also want the big one.
Bring the key. That's why I'm there.
What's it worth? So much. I saw never.
I'll try everything. Borach had when Neil and Melachel burn the fudge. We have a zimmer. We used to at least have a zimmer.
For sure.
I watch.